Hailing frequencies open, and welcome to Star Trek Discoverage, the live podcast that boldly goes into excruciating detail about this week's episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm your host, Aaron Coker, a.k.a. Caliban, and contrary to popular belief, death by spear is ironically one of the leading causes of death on a Federation starship. Joining me on the show, as usual, is my co-host. She's also the co-host of the Generations Geek podcast, a more or less family-friendly celebration of geekdom. It's Ella Pearson. Ella, welcome back to Discoverage.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, and welcome to your cat as well, who I think I just heard.
He's trying very hard to break in, but I locked my door, so we're safe.
Yeah, you got a longer path to showbiz than that, buddy, so get on it. Is that Ripley? Or who is that?
That's my cat. His
that's your
full
cat.
Given Christian name is Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Okay, I see. Well, he's going to find a way under that door somehow. So
I know. He'll lose his hat along the way, but it'll be fine.
His little kitty hat paw comes back for it. Well, Ella, we're in the third week of 23 weeks of Trek with this episode of Lower Decks, and I thought that we would maybe talk about a little Trek news before we get rolling.
Sure, you are my apparently biggest source of Trek news, as we learn every season.
Well, I'm glad to keep you up to date. I have heard that, and this is a rumor, but I'm pretty sure it's true. It's not from one of those sites, that CBS All Access might be called Paramount Plus when they do their big rebrand coming up early next year.
I mean, it definitely has more pleasing alliteration than All Access. So I will give it that.
Yeah, it's almost like a different direction. Like CBS All Access is so comprehensive, it's a little clunky, and it tells you everything that you need to know, really, I guess, about their service. And switching it to now emphasizing the Paramount side, their Paramount brand, and calling it Plus is like, we got, like Disney Plus and Showtime Plus or something. I feel like there's a lot of pluses out there. So this is just them saying, let's just do that.
I think she needs a makeover, a small one, maybe a little bit of a makeover. And honestly, I feel like Paramount is a better name for a streaming service anyways, because CBS, you're like, what do I watch on CBS?
Yeah. Well,
and I think for a lot of people,
The Good Fight.
Exactly.
Young Sheldon.
My mother does.
CSI, the entire CSI franchise, Magnum PI, call it, Magnum PI Plus or something.
They got Magnum PI on CBS All Access?
Yeah, don't they? They better.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
News to me.
I know what you're doing after this.
All I watch is Star Trek, so I've literally never looked for anything else.
They own the property. I'm pretty sure that I've seen it on there. But they own the property, right? They have the rebooted show on CBS, so I just assumed that they probably own the original one too. But yeah, I think they're kind of focusing more on their bombastic movies and the content and stuff that they are bringing in there. So maybe this is a better way to go. But just something other than Plus. Paramount, I guess I don't do this for a living.
It's not super unique.
Yeah, but I guess
you're right. It's like Hulu Plus, Disney Plus.
Yeah, but it's also it's that thing where it's like you know exactly right away when you say, it's something plus. That their digital streaming offering.
Yeah, paid streaming service.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's the best way to go. Also, recently, in an interview with somebody, I'm going to assume it was Gold Derby or something like that.
Of course.
Alex Kurtzman, whose job just seems to be interviewed these days. He's just doing interviews all over the place. But he said recently in an interview that Strange New Worlds will have a focus on more Planet of the Week, TOS-style stories, and a return to the optimism of earlier Trek series.
Aww.
Putting
That's so nice.
Yes, that musky teddy bear, Anson Mount, where he belongs, on a ship, doing nice things for aliens, and pretty much giving you exactly what you'd probably expect.
And exactly what we need.
It wouldn't hurt.
I don't know about you.
It certainly wouldn't hurt right now. That's true. I don't know. I'm sure even on a fluffy show, you can get
Hmm.
some darkness. When we're introduced
Oh, absolutely.
to Pike, really the two times that we're introduced to Pike, the cage, and then of course the menagerie. There's some dark stuff that happens in the cage, and then of course when he returns in the menagerie, or we see him for the first time, depending on whether you watch the pilot or not. He's in a real bad place. So it's interesting that character is so associated with tragedy, but they're like, you know what? What if he was just like riding a rainbow around the universe, just helping people and doing Star Trek stuff? I think that's an interesting choice, especially for a character or an actor who has spent so much time doing dark stuff. You know, like I don't know if you ever watched Hell on Wheels, but that's a that's a rough show. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see him just just be that everybody's dad, Star Trek captain character, space dad.
I like it. I mean, I feel like he's a very like classic hero type person. And then I feel like if you have a show that's more fluffy, then
Yeah,
when you do have those moments that are like deep and dark, they hit so much harder
yeah,
that I feel like it'll really work. Plus, I liked what they did with him in Disco, where he had to like deal with the weight of like knowing like his future.
yeah, and also
And
just
so,
yeah, and him taking over for a captain who, speaking
yeah.
of dark, whoa, like he's probably the darkest captain we've ever had. So yeah,
Like if he learns his future and then he's just, on the Enterprise focusing on like doing the best he can, I think that's really, I mean, I'm excited.
yeah. Although, come on, like we have to see him, wrestle his shirtless mirror counterpart or something like that. We
Oh, I'm
gotta have,
sure.
yeah, we
I
gotta
mean, that is a requirement.
we gotta arrange to have that
I'm
happen.
certain it's in the contract.
Start your letter writing campaign now. Well, we've just seen the third episode of the new animated Star Trek series, Lower Decks. It's an episode called Temporal Edict, and we're here to talk all about it. But first, as always, a warning, listeners. We're setting a course for the spoiler zone, so be warned. We're glad you've decided to join us, but if you haven't seen the episode, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for this episode for Temporal Edict is a new work protocol eliminating buffer time has the Cerritos crew running ragged as they try to keep up with their tightened schedules. Ensign Mariner and Commander Ransom's mutual lack of respect comes to a head during an away mission. The episode was written by Dave Ehlenfeld and David Wright. It was directed by Bob Suarez. The stardate for the episode is 57501.4 and also, of course, features a look at the far future at an undetermined time. And I tried to look for some interesting aspects to this episode, but these things are coming fresh, hot off the press, so it's a little rough. Can you think of anything that we saw in this episode that we'd never seen before?
Um, I was gonna say, like, especially with the timer thing,
Yeah,
not super, not shocking, not brand new. I still really enjoyed it. I can't is the answer to your question.
okay.
But I'm not mad about it.
I was thinking, I often research sites like Memory Alpha for this, and
Mhm.
Mike McMahon has, I don't think that he's ever said, gun to his head, Lower Decks is canon, but he has talked a lot about delivering a canon-like show or a show that is not just like fanfic, it is canon. So I think that we can probably assume that this is like A minus canon. Like if they, establish that, like, are there now tricorders with purple stripes, and that's going to be in the thing going forward? We don't know, but it's possible. And so I was wondering, like, if if Lower Decks information should be on Memory Beta and not Memory Alpha.
Um,
Are we really to assume, when we see this thing, that's a bit, it's a joke really, when they see the future, like, is this, this is like 2782 and Crewman Daniels is just off screen and we're learning about the time that Ensign Boimler created the slack off rule.
I feel like some of it is like, okay, for the canon of it all, like take it with a grain of salt. But I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
it, I'm kind of assuming, you know, I feel like that's how it is with like a lot of like, let's say, I mean, dare I say, somebody once told me that there's an episode of Salamander Babies, and like all I'm saying is like it happened, but I don't think we have to. I don't think we need to consider it as straight fact. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's storytelling. There's some narration going on. Whose point of view? It's like here's a weird comparison. Harry Potter. That's from the point of view of Harry, and the boy, he is so oblivious. He doesn't notice anything. Anything could be happening in that series beyond what Harry is noticing.
Right.
So I feel like there's some stuff where I'm like, that's what Boimler thinks is going to happen.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe not.
I
But
can
yeah,
see that.
I
Yeah.
think canon A minus, memory beta, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. That's a good point. There's a lot of things in regular Star Trek shows that are probably considered A minus canon that they would happily forget that ever happened if they could. Well, that's pretty much it for my information. So we should just probably get right into it. What'd you think about Temporal Edict?
Oh, I really liked it. I'm enjoying the show like so much. And I don't know if it's just because like there's this pandemic. I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know if I'm just so enjoying
Yeah, I
this
think I
like
saw something about that.
yeah, something about it. This like light, literal, cartoony version of Star Trek. More because of that. You know, I definitely wouldn't say this is my favorite episode out of the three, but I had a lot of fun watching it. I don't know.
This episode raised a lot of questions for me, just about like the setting and kind of what's like what we're watching, like what's on sale. Like if you watch, well, forget like the pilot of TNG because not it's the show changed a lot since the pilot. But as it goes on, it becomes clear. Okay, this is a show about like Captain Picard and Riker and Troy and I guess Geordi and Data, and not really War for Yar so much. And then also Wesley will keep popping up and kind of annoy you, depending on how you feel about him. And I was trying to get a sense of like who's like the star of this show. Like obviously Mariner is a big star, and Boimler is kind of a big focus. But like, is it just them? Because we're introduced to Tendi, coming onto the ship, and that seems like that would be such a typical, oh, here's the new character. It's their first day. Kind of character. And yeah, we're only 3 episodes in, but we just haven't seen a lot from her. And I expect, in the future there will be an episode that really focuses on her. But this is like a episode that like really focused on the captain, really focused on the first officer, and kind of like spread it around a lot. And I'm not criticizing that. I think that's probably a good idea. But I'm just wondering like who do they think like the main character of the show is?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I was a little surprised by how much the like higher ranking officers like had, I mean, not like they had too much screen time, but I definitely noticed this episode where I was like, oh, I want to go back to like, let's lean back a bit. I want to see, like more of Tendi, more of everyone else.
Get back to our lower decks characters.
Yeah, exactly. But I also feel like Star Trek is just kind of one of those shows that has like an ensemble cast, and so like I feel like
Yeah.
the main character, sometimes the main character is very clear, and sometimes it's not. And I don't know. I mean, I'm certain we'll get they'll all have like episodes where it's like, oh, like this is a Boimler episode for sure. I definitely feel like Boimler and Mariner are the stars, I guess.
Boimler,
so far.
of course, is who plays Boimler? Jack Quaid? Yeah. And he's like not Randy Quaid. He's Dennis Quaid's son, right?
I I don't know.
Yeah, all that is correct. Everything I said is correct. He is Dennis Quaid and
As
Meg
usual.
Ryan's
Yes.
kid. Actors who it just seems like they're probably in black and white movies to you, right? From a long
I don't
time
know.
ago.
I'm so bad.
I grew up watching movies like Inner Space, and Meg Ryan movie. Sleepless in Seattle. There you go. So just made me think of that. Yeah, like Boimler, for instance. Okay, so we have this whole thing. There's this thing called what is it called? Creative estimating or buffer time. And that's kind of like taking an established Star Trek thing that we've seen and trying to put a comedic spin on it. I'm a little disappointed they didn't call it like Scotty time or something like that, because we've established in several places that yes, Commander Scott, or whatever his rank is at the time, sometimes inflates his estimates because he is going to make himself seem like a miracle worker. And so buffer time gets eliminated on the ship, and now everybody has to do their tasks on time. And apparently, I'm just going to assume that the estimated time to complete a task is way off because nobody ever reports the correct time. Because if this is, shouldn't they be able to accomplish all this? Like they're Starfleet officers. I think it's interesting that Boimler is the only guy who maybe he doesn't have enough duties, but he's fine with this change and he navigates it well. And the fact that he is always put in the position where whatever he does is wrong, and then when a condition of wrong is set across the ship, he thrives in it. Is he the villain of this series?
Oh,
They're clearly positioning Mariner as this amazing hero of the series, and because he is just like the polar yin yang opposite of her, like is he the bad guy?
no, they're smart in different ways. We went over it when he got all slimed.
Yeah. He's got IQ tests. They don't measure everybody's intelligence. You have a different kind of intelligence. Yeah. I wonder if he will ever be a part of the team or if he's just always going to be on the outside looking in, because
like awkward.
Because we've like, I read another, I got to stop reading articles and interviews with Mike McMahon, but he said in a thing that I read the other day that it was a priority, as a quote from him, to never have somebody in Starfleet be stupid or dumb. And I'm like, you don't really mean that. Like, we've already seen people be stupid or dumb on the show, right? But the fact that that is a guiding principle for you, I don't know. I heard a user, this wasn't him. I heard a user say about the show the other day that it's oh God, I'm going to blow the quote. But he said basically it's a comedy, but it's not a spoof. So they are it is a Star Trek show that they want to be funnier than your regular Star Trek show, but they are not doing like a parody or a spoof. And that really disappointed me, because I thought that's...
You want it to be a parody?
We've got a ton of Star Trek shows. Every Star Trek show is a Star Trek show. Even the Millennium Falcon gritty ass, Picard show that we were supposed to get, like, just turned into a Star Trek show. They're all Star Trek shows. Like, give us something. Like, I didn't love the short trek, the Tribble short trek with the Tribble commercial and all that, but like they were going, okay, wait a minute, this wall is soft. We can push right through this wall, and there's like comedy on the other side. Like we can do anything we want. And this is just like the Orville with like, cleaner jokes.
I feel like if you're gonna make I feel like parody might not suit Star Trek so well, and here's why. I feel like you can make a very different kind of Star Trek than what has been previously made, but I feel like at its heart, like if you change, like a parody would change like the core like philosophies of Star Trek, I feel, in a way that might not work unless you have like the like sweet like aw shucks moment at like the end. I don't know. I feel like, do you like parodies of like other stuff? Like, will you watch like a parody movie?
Yeah.
For real?
What's that?
Like, actually, like, are you like...
Oh, would I watch a parody movie? Yeah, it's called Galaxy Quest. I've seen it. And it's great. It's like one of the best Star Trek movies.
I feel like it might be the exception to what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I feel like we also need more. We're 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
I feel like I really like what he said about punching up. Like, it'd be very easy for him to make fun of Trek in ways that like wouldn't necessarily be super entertaining or like fun.
Well, I haven't like
I feel like that's why. Yeah.
I haven't read every tweet on the season 8 account, but like that he made, but I'd imagine that a lot of it makes fun of the kind of things that you see in TNG and in Star Trek. And so I I'm pretty sure he got hired to do that, to make a show that kind of makes fun of Star Trek. But then apparently he was told by his bosses that he couldn't do that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'll be interviewing him soon. Because he also talks to everybody, but I just feel like I don't want to call them cowards, but here we are. Like, they're spending so much money on this. Every single Star Trek show that was supposed to have a new premise, except for DS9, although they did add the Defiant to the show, just turns into Star Trek again. You know, they're flying from planet to planet. They're having week-to-week shows. And they can never get away with that, even when they make the entire show like Voyager about not doing that, and they end up doing that again. And now here we are. We've got a show that, you know, you can literally make fun of the fact that why are we just flying away from this planet? Like, their whole civilization's on fire. You know, you can do whatever you want, and yet they're just doing Star Trek again. And they spent so much money on it that I don't know why they just keep making Star Trek. Star Wars has no problem being funny. Star Wars has no problem being tragic or uplifting or for kids. Like, Star Wars can be anything, but Star Trek can only be itself. And I think that's a problem.
I'm warming up to this a bit. I'm coming over to your side a tiny bit. I have my foot over the line.
I see it. I'm going to stab it.
I feel like, oh my God. No. I don't know. I feel like I'm hesitating because I want to see so many more. Like, I'm waiting for more episodes where I feel like he's kind of making fun, like he's having a bit of fun. It's like he's kind of teasing like Trek, but I'm definitely curious to see if he goes like farther with it. I also just like, I don't know. I think maybe I said this last week. I really like something that is made with like love. And so I feel like it's hard for some people to make fun of something that they love without it becoming like mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think that the possibility to be mean or to have somebody be a little like, okay, all right, like that, I think that has to exist, you know, in comedy. And
Galaxy Quest though is like made with like love for sci-fi while knowing that it's like ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's why it's so good and why so many people like it. And so I feel like it's a hard line to walk.
And it does, and it gets to cut both ways, and it like, you know, and walks a tightrope because it sort of makes fun of fan culture in the, you know, get a life sort of way, but also the plot of the movie, and it's for the fans, but the plot of the movie incorporates fans into it, you know, and they become integral to the whole conceit of this being like, it's not real. No, it's all real. It's like totally real. Yeah. Which is like, I mean, you can only do that in that situation. I mean, Star Trek can't really do that. Star Trek, do not make a show where you come to Earth and like you're a TV show, but you're also real. Don't do that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like these are the kind of things that are going through my head because, you know, we've never had a Star Trek comedy show before, and the fact that we're 50 years in and we're just getting a comedy show, I think these are valid things to talk about. But we should talk about some of the funny things that did happen in this episode. I don't know why. Why would they ask the Crystal people to be part of the Federation? That clearly they have a lot of things to work out about their differences with the Wood people and their aggression. They're so angry. They just see one little log and they just lose it.
They see a campfire and they're like, "Oh my God!
Oh no!
What are you doing?
Oh my God! Please stop." Yeah, I liked. I thought it was funny. I didn't really understand why. Only when she, you know, authorized buffer time, then suddenly nobody was really working on their projects. They were all running for their lives, but now they have time to like team up and stop everybody. But that was kind of funny. I like just the kind of random stuff like that. I like the guy, I can't remember if it was Rutherford or not, but if somebody looked like him who was moving something and then he knocks over this barrel of acid and it just eats a hole in the deck and he's like, oh, no, that's not good. Like, I just like the kind of general chaos. I also really liked the pairing. Now, let me get this straight. The pairing of Ransom and just forgotten, Mariner on the planet, and they're both like, they don't say this outright. One of the few times the show doesn't make a reference. But they're like, they both want to be the Kirk, right? Somebody's got to take their shirt off and
Hmm.
like fight this thing,
Hmm.
and they both want to do that. And I thought that was funny, and I thought that him pulling rank on her and also like stabbing and disabling her. He's like, no,
Yeah, he did
I'm the
both.
commander. I get to be the Kirk. Like I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying
But
this show for real.
but is she going to end up with this Chad?
No,
I don't know. It seemed like
they're
they
gonna
were
have
headed for
like,
that.
well, I mean, yeah, they're definitely gonna have like moments. They're gonna keep doing the whole like, oh my God, where this is so intense, and where are we flirting? Oh my God, but I don't think they're gonna be like a couple.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, like just like friends with benefits, fine, but no couple.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna continue. The bit will continue
Yeah.
because they're such opposites. But no, I don't think. Because who's Endgame? Let's be real. You know what? Who? Let's say that she's gonna have a like whatever a romance subplot. Be real. Who's Endgame?
Um, I don't, I don't see anyone right now. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why I was worried about Ransom. Not that we need one, but
Hmm.
if she was going to be with somebody, I think it's just too cheesy to put her with Boimler, right? And plus, it just doesn't
That's what I was gonna
work.
say. I was like, that is what.
They're just not. They
I mean,
don't
maybe not
work.
this season. Maybe next season.
Yeah, but also like, man, I hope they're not going to do her with the XO. But I don't know. That's the only really viable candidate I see so far. Just if you're going to go opposite sex,
Hmm. You know what? Good point.
they could do a ton of high concept fights together.
They could. I feel like it is a little cheesy to have her and Boimler be Endgame, but I feel like it could work. I don't know. That's why I was like, be honest. If Endgame is to have her with a partner, I feel like it's in the stars.
Well, we'll see. I'm not ready to take any action on that just yet, but I think it's definitely possible. What do you think the schedule is like on a Starfleet ship?
Um,
like you
like how
plug.
many shifts there are?
Yeah, but no, just like a regular day. Like you show up for your shift, and then
Hmm.
it's work on. We've got maybe a long distance project we're working on,
Hmm.
redesigning, a shuttlecraft or something. But then also somebody calls in. There's hot bananas coming out of their replicator or something, so you got to go deal with that. Like, how much do you think people actually get done in a workday?
I mean, how much does anyone get done on a workday?
I would, I would both be comforted and a little depressed if the 24th century workday and sense of accomplishment was similar to the 21st century one. They got
It's
to
like
eliminate
you got to do
greed,
your work.
hunger, and also just people being satisfied. Clicking on cat pictures all day. If we can get rid of all three of these things, maybe we can really get off this planet.
Listen, you got to save the world, but sometimes you just have to check your turnip prices in Animal Crossing twice a day. Like,
Right? Yeah. Got to just dig for
um,
more holes or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, the captain's mad because all the fruit coming out of his replicator's boiling hot for no reason. But sometimes it's like, oh, what? Today I do get to work on my like super futuristic. This is the new shuttle that I'm helping design. But then it's like you have to send the ensign down to like someone's sonic shower. There's like real water coming out of it, and you're like, this isn't supposed to be possible,
Wait a minute.
but you have to fix it.
This is a disaster.
Hang on.
There's water coming out of the shower. I was wondering if is it pure sound or is it water but it's enhanced with sonic properties? Do you know what I mean? Like in jewelry, what is the infinitive of jewelry? In the jewelry industry, they
Yeah.
use ultrasonic waves in water to clean pieces. Sometimes when you got a piece that you can't get into or do too much to because it's delicate, they sort of buzz it all out. So I just thought that it was like
Mhm.
water, but it was extra sonic.
Isn't there a scene with Balana though where she like turns on the shower and then she just kind of stands there?
And she, yeah, you're probably right. They had that. Yeah, they
I
built
would
that.
hope.
I think that was the pregnancy season. They built like a bathroom set
God.
for Roxanne for some reason, and so like half a dozen times throughout the season, something had to go wrong in her bathroom, or she'd get sick and go throw up in her bathroom just to justify the cost.
Oh my gosh. I would be very honestly, I have never thought about it because the idea of having to take a sonic shower is deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that you just have to stand there? Like where does all the if you're like all grimy from sweating in the Jeffries tubes all day, what I don't understand.
If it's a lot faster than like a water shower, I could see the value. But otherwise, sometimes that's like you want to just spend time in the shower. It's warm, it's relaxing.
I know. I feel like that
they should put caffeine in the water. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to wake
God.
up. But we also, we see Janeway take baths and we see people luxuriate. So maybe if it was just really fast, then it's like, okay, I'm clean, but like I'm tense. So later on after my shift, I'll come back and like take a bath or something.
I feel
If
like
I
a
have
hot
time.
shower is such like a
I like how the captain basically like authorizes the purge at the end of the episode. So suddenly everybody just goes crazy and just knocks out all these aliens.
just a hot shower is such a it's like a weird core like ape memory. Like I feel like I'm just like, yes, I need to get in the waterfall
Yeah.
and like scrub my face. Like
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I had to say for the most part about the show. We go to the end of the flash forward to the future, and we see their statue of Miles O'Brien. You know who they'd never have a statue of? Harry Kim. I think if they just had a statue of Harry Kim with his clarinet, and they're like, Ensign Harry Kim did a lot of stuff in his time. But of course, he's still ensign. He never got promoted.
Never got a promotion.
Yeah, that was my girlfriend wrote that joke.
I did. Oh my God. At the beginning of this episode, I got so excited when she said we're en route to Cardassia Prime.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, 2.5 seconds later, it was like, you don't get to go to Cardassia Prime. You're the crappy ship. And I was like sitting with my roommate on the couch and I was like, no.
Right.
Because she's never seen Star Trek. I was like, Gabby, get ready. It's going to be so sick. They're all lizards and they're all mean and Slytherins, like literally.
Right, which is awesome. But like on the show, they're like, the Cardassians are creeping everybody out. So is that what direction punching is that? Is that punching up or down? I mean, that's kind of making fun of a lot of people like the Cardassians. What about Garrick?
I mean,
is
yeah,
Garrick
but,
creepy?
like I love.
Garrick's totally,
yes, he is.
Garrick's totally creepy, by the way.
He's so creepy.
In my bad faith argument.
And I love him for it.
He's absolutely creepy.
Oh my God. I feel like that's just punching. It's not punching up or down. It's just punching because that was just a funny thing to say.
I got to learn all the directions of punching, I guess. Well, that's pretty much covers it, I think. I mean, these are only a half an hour. We can't go that long. But yeah, I think we wrapped it up. So that's it for our show this week. And thank you for joining us, listeners. If you like what you hear, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at EISTPod for updates and to get notified when new episodes of both this show, Discoverage, and our home show, Enterprising Individuals, are released. And you can tweet to us on the show by using the hashtag Discoverage or drop us an email at eistpod@gmail.com. Also, while you're on the internet, why not head to your listening platform of choice and subscribe to our show feed. Give us a rating and a review because it really helps us out. And if you want to help the show grow, stop by our Patreon page at patreon.com/EISTpod. And as always, if you like the show, tell a friend. Ella, when you listen to podcasts, assuming you do, I'm probably too cool for podcasts, what service do you use? Are you an iTuneser? Are you a Spotifyer?
To be honest, it's either Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Okay. Because I have been reliably informed that Spotify, you can't really like review something on Spotify. You just sort of, subscribe to it and listen to it.
Yeah, it's not the best. It is not. They really don't cater to podcasts, but the podcasts are on there.
Yeah.
If something's inevitably going wrong with Apple Podcasts, if you're like me, and you just use it because it's there.
Well, all these years I've been begging people to give us a rating on their platform, but if everybody uses Spotify, then it's been falling on deaf ears. So if you do like the show and you want to honor us somehow, I don't know, just like one of our tweets or something like that. Discoverage will return on August 27th for the 4th episode of Season 1 of Lower Decks. It's entitled Moist Vessel. And this might be it. This might be the one that breaks me. We'll see. But we'll be back next week. We'll be going live once again at 7 p.m. Central, so join us then. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook at EISTPod to get notified when we're live and broadcasting. And in the meantime, check out our main show, Enterprising Individuals, which is at enterprisingindividuals.com. Every Wednesday on the show, I'm joined by a special guest to discuss in excruciating detail a selected episode from a Star Trek series. And we also have news from the Trek sphere and interviews with special guests. Our latest episode just dropped, and on it, I'm joined by Dr. Ethan Siegel, the author of Treknology, and we discuss the technology of Star Trek and the interesting fact that many of the technologies we see in the 24th century are actually possible, or at least plausible, in our own century. You can check out that interview at enterprisingindividuals.com. Ella, thanks as always for joining me to talk about tonight's episode. Remind people where they can find you online.
Thank you. Our podcast, Generations Geek, is Generations Geek, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on all social media.
So go and check that out. Any idea what the next episode's going to be about?
There's a few that we need to follow up. We're going to have Catching Fire coming up. We should have the last in our Alien series coming up pretty soon. I just moved and got 2 new jobs, so we're a little slower than usual, but it will be coming.
All right, well, pay attention to that, people, for new episodes of that. And that is it for us for this week. Thanks for listening. We're signing off, and this is Aaron for Ella saying, live long and prosper.